Welcome back to the Lawkward Chronicles. My name is Larissa, and today we have our book club of the month episode, book club month, Lawkward Chronicles book club. And what we will be discussing today is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. In case you are unaware, a book club episode, we have spoilers here. So please exit out now if you do not want any spoilers on the book. It's at your own risk. I do have a spoiler-free reading vlog that went up before this if you would like to check that out. And then you can read along or, just read the book in general and then come back to this episode and get all the tea, all the spoilers, all the thoughts. Okay? Exit now. Good. Okay. Hi. Taylor Jenkins Reid wrote something and I'm 100,000% going to read it. I love her books. She is one of the authors that I will pick anything up from. Doesn't matter the content. I really want to get back to her backlist. But today we are going to be discussing her newest release, which is Carrie Soto is Back. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year, and I wasn't let down. I'm so happy about this. Synopsis is essentially Carrie Soto is a retired professional women's tennis player, and she holds the record for the most slams won before retirement. And she is currently 37 years old, retired for 6 years now, and her record is threatened by our lovely Nikki Chan. In order for her to establish her record and continue to be an influential woman in tennis, she comes out of retirement to take back her record, take back her glory. And can she do it? We found out. But this book was so much more than tennis, and it dealt with one of our questions here is regarding the key themes of this book, and it's about ambition, aging, as well as ageism, essentially, through sports, through life, the cost of greatness, female accomplishments, double standards in all of those things, comebacks and second chances, and we love that. So I got these questions. First of all, the questions are all in the description box below, so if you want to answer them in the comments, that'd be awesome. If you want to answer a couple of them, that's cool. If you want to take this to your own book club and answer them, fantastic. I provided the link that I got these questions from because I am unoriginal and unable to think of these fantastic book club questions. So I have the link from, I believe, the bookclubchat.com that is provided with those questions. And we have 15 of them. Well, we already answered one about the key themes. So continuing on. First off, I want to start off with my overall impression of the book. I really liked it. I really enjoyed the athleticism and reading about just the mindset of a professional tennis player. As I mentioned in the reading vlog, I listened to Andre Agassi's memoir about tennis, and I definitely see a correlation between the two. I thought it was very fascinating. Tennis players are in a league of their own, especially singles tennis players, because they only have themselves to rely on, and it is a very brutal sport on the body, on the mind, and it becomes single focused. And in this book, along with Andre Agassi's memoir, they both dropped out of high school. They both did not finish high school, which is crazy to me, and that is the route that most tennis players take because they have to be so dedicated to this sport because they have to stay young. There aren't that many older, professional, successful tennis players. There are a few, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely a sport that comes with age. And the younger you are, yes, like you have to learn and you have to grow into the sport, but you have more abilities when you're younger and more drive and more stamina, and all of your joints don't hate you currently at that point. You just don't see that many older tennis players. And once you get past like mid 30s, even just slightly into your 30s, most retire out of that, which for a lot of people, their 30s is their prime time. Like that's when big things are happening. So in that aspect, the mental toll that takes about having your entire identity kind of ripped away in retirement at such a young age. Like 30s is young. It's crazy. And some people even retire into their like late 20s. So to have that identity ripped away can leave a lot of people feeling lost. I mean, yes, they have other projects and charities and everything that they work towards, but it's not the same. It's not the same intensity. And you see this a lot in football too, and other professional sports. People can spiral into a dark, dark place once they no longer have this goal, this drive, this something that holds them accountable. And it can be really sad for a lot of athletes. Going along with it, yeah, my overall impression, that was a turn. I really liked it. I really loved the ending. The ending was phenomenal. I think it did exactly what I wanted it to, even though I did want to see Carrie Soto win just to prove that she still had it. I think the way it ended with Nikki beating Carrie, and they both play a phenomenal game, the best game that either have played, really showed growth from Carrie's side, as well as like just acceptance that there's always going to be someone younger, better, and things evolve and change as the sport evolves and change. And Carrie did so much for the sport in her career, and Nikki is doing so much for the sport, and it continues to get better and better as people grow and the sport grows and different technologies are used and different therapies are used, and it's phenomenal. All right, question 1. Did you read Malibu Rising? Why do you think Taylor Jenkins Reid decided to feature Carrie Soto in her own novel? I don't recall too much about Carrie Soto in Malibu Rising. I did read it a couple years ago, or was it last year? Oh, I don't even remember. But I do remember like her main plot point was the other woman in one of the kids' life. Like she was dating what's his face, and she was portrayed as like a homewrecker, more of a villain, and obviously what she did was wrong. Like you don't date married men, even if they tell you that it's not working out. Like you wait for those divorce papers to be signed before anything goes on. And the thing is, she was so insecure and so scared of giving her heart away, she just accepted trash, repeatedly trash. And like she said, even after what's her name rejected what's his name, and Carrie took him back, and then he ended up leaving her for someone else. Like she realizes that she made a mistake and that it was stupid of her to accept this person and accept this love or this affection when it was just really attention and him feeling insecure. And she was so insecure and wanted to be desired and chosen, but ultimately it wasn't a good decision for her to be in. And I think Taylor gave Carrie her own novel to kind of explain why she comes off as this cruel, this cool bitch, essentially. And when really it's just she's scared of opening up and having that rejection, and she'd rather take anything than nothing, even if that is nothing. She keeps people at a distance. That's what I'm trying to say. Why did Carrie decide to come out of retirement? What was she trying to prove? I mean, obviously she wanted to prove, she stated it multiple times, that she was the best tennis player in the world, men's and women's, and to uphold her record. And I think that she just is so scared to fade into insignificance and to fade into nothing and be forgotten in history, when this is the only thing that she feels that she has and is able to accomplish. And she constantly says and continually says throughout, like, she's not the prettiest, she's not the friendliest. So her record is really the only thing that she has that makes her stand out amongst all these people. Question 3. We follow Carrie on her journey to return to the sport. Why did she want her father, Javier, to coach her again? What did her father teach her that no one else can? I feel like her father taught her just the grace and beauty of the game. She is both from Javier, a tennis player, and her mom was a dancer. So she has both of those components and the ability to be so graceful on the court. And her father, I feel like, taught her how to rein both of those sides in and how to utilize them to her advantage, as well as like adjusting to each player on the court and playing her game, but also making sure that she counteracts the other players' games. As for why she asked her dad to return, I think she does feel guilty that she fired him. And also, she was abandoned by her coach that she fired her dad for once she aged out. And it put a strain on her and her dad's relationship after that. And I think she wants to try to make amends and try to create that connection that they once had. And also to get the validation from her father that she is the best in the world. Question 4. Carrie is fiercely competitive and does not shy away from boasting that she is the best. When a male athlete exhibits this behavior, he is praised, but in Carrie's position, she is ridiculed. Why are women athletes treated different than male ones? I think this is all across the board, no matter what. You see it, women in business, they are called cutthroat. They are called very, very bad things and very inappropriate things for the workplace. And I feel like women's sports are no different, especially if they are confident in their abilities and are considered more cutthroat. And we as women are taught and stereotyped to be perceived as the nurturing one, the caretakers to the society, and the society expects us to be gracious and humble, to be able to participate in anything, whether that's in a high position at work or in sports. And they, I think of it as a threat when we exude that confidence and have skills and put in the effort to put in, and then they're shocked when we take credit for all that hard work instead of just being like, oh, I just got lucky, I'm just so happy to be here. No, like, you earned it, you worked for it. And I just think the media and everybody else just portrays women as these meek little people that is just, you know, just so lucky to participate and just happy to be there. No, that's not the case. It's a lot of work, and we deserve the right to boast on our accomplishments like men do. Feminism, am I right? Carrie never tried to make friends with other tennis athletes, and while there is a competitive nature to it, we also find out she's afraid of getting close to anyone after losing her mother at such a young age. Let's talk about the impact of losing her mother on both Carrie and her father. it's very clear that they closed both of themselves off. They closed their hearts off and tried to hyper focus instead of dealing with their grief and heal from the loss of the mother, and as well as talk about her and have these conversations. You know, the thing is like, if they don't let anybody in, no one can ever leave. And Carrie's mom was this woman that wanted Carrie to just be present in the moment, take it one day at a time, and once she was gone, she wasn't there, as a reminder to just like have joy in what she was doing. And it became this competitive thing, and it was only Javier and Carrie that they relied upon each other. It was pretty damaging, in the fact that Javier took Carrie's photo of her mother. It was so heartbreaking. It was so heartbreaking, and it just closed her heart off even more, even though she was just trying to remember her mom. But Javier at the time viewed it as a distraction and keeping her from succeeding and moving forward with tennis, when in fact it was a comfort. And that comfort was shown as weakness. Question 6, she eventually starts to train with Bo Huntley, a bad boy of tennis that she once had a fling with. What do you think about their relationship? Are they a good fit? And what did they both learn from each other? First of all, when they first were a thing, Bo was going through it. He was an alcoholic, or he is an alcoholic, since been in rehab, and he has done a lot of self-work before going back to Carrie's life. And he doesn't take that lightly. He did a lot of personal growth. He tries not to throw temper tantrums on the court anymore. And he just became a more compassionate human. And he had to continually prove to Carrie that he wasn't going to leave, even though he thinks that Carrie left, which they just didn't communicate very well. Carrie was just pushing people away in hopes that they would stay, and he took that as she just wasn't interested. Whereas this time around, she's continually pushing him away, and he has to continually prove that he is there to stay. And I just think that they are such a good fit. He gives her the space that she needs, but he also gives her just full-fledged honesty and calls her on her BS all the time, which I think is great, because they finally get things aired out in the open, as well as she can get over some of her insecurities with that. Also, like, the fact that Bo had such a lovely relationship with Javier as both a coach and as a friend. It was just so cute. And when he was reading the book about grief after Javier passed, like, oh, my heart just ached for him, because he was trying to be such a strong person for Carrie and be there for her, but he was also going through grief of loss of a friend in Javier, which, oh, just so sad. And Javier even said that they're a good fit, and he knew he was the guy for Carrie, because Bo feels secure, even knowing he is not better than Carrie and can't be compared to her, and he accepts her and encourages her and continues to fight like with tennis on the court to match her level. And they sometimes do and sometimes don't, and they're good competition for each other, and they just understand each other's inner workings because of that tennis background and how isolating the sport itself can be. And they both improved their games. Bo improved his game, and Carrie accepted herself and let him in. My camera cut off. I don't really know where it cut off. All right, so that cut out a whole question, which was so cool. So editing Larissa here, and you'll see me in a little bit as well. Question 8 was, what was your impression of all the matches and the behind the scenes look at her thought process as she played? Do you watch tennis? And I thought it was really intriguing, and it kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. I had to like physically tell myself to unclench because I was so wound up reading the matches, and I just kept reading quicker and quicker as time went on, and I had to just tell myself, like, calm down, you're gonna get to it eventually, multiple times. And just the quickness and how they strategize is so fascinating to me. I loved being inside her head for that. I thought that was really interesting and intriguing, and just how quick and on their feet they have to be, especially since they can't talk to their coaches during the matches, which is just wild to me. That is a weird concept to me, who has always been coached and always yelled at every possible minute of the game. So as for watching tennis, I don't watch tennis regularly. I really like it. I don't have the tennis channel and I don't have cable, so I don't get to watch it as often as I would like. One of my friends does. Anytime I'm over at their place, I will watch it with them because they do have the tennis channel. And I feel like this book helped me understand the game of tennis a little bit more, so the next time I get to watch a game of tennis, I think I can appreciate it a little bit better and kind of follow along a little bit better with the game. Let's now talk about the dynamic with Nikki Chan. In what ways are they similar and how are they different? When did Carrie start to view her differently than other competitors? So they're similar for the fact that they have to work harder than anybody because they do not fit the stereotypical mold of the blonde hair, blue-eyed gal that's tall, lengthy, lean. Carrie is Hispanic and she remarks that she is bulky, whereas Nikki Chan is Asian, and they both have to be the best in order to get sponsorships, in order to get recognition. One of the stereotypical tennis players, it doesn't really matter what their ranking is, they just have to look hot, you know? So in order for them to make an impact on tennis, they have to work to be the best at tennis. And they are different in their attitudes. Nikki is noted as the pleasant, chipper, always friendly, while Carrie is described as cool and standoffish, and as her new nickname is bitch. She's a bitch is what she is called. And she's very like upfront with her feelings and thoughts and isn't scared to like cut people down. Whereas when Nikki does it, she does it with a smile. I believe Carrie starts to view Nikki differently than other competitors around the Paris opening, but definitely when they have a drink together in London. Carrie remarked that she hates that she likes Nikki, and she doesn't really like that many people, so for her to like this person, she definitely sees them differently, and I think that was kind of the turning point, is around that time. Javier falls ill and eventually passes away from a heart attack right before Carrie's big run in the US Open. How did losing her father change everything for Carrie? First of all, that was so sad. That was so heartbreaking. Oh, and like right before that last, it changed in the sense that she was actually alone. I mean, she was and she wasn't. Like, yes, Bo was there, but her father has always been there, has always been her rock, has always been there with like a coaching, wisdom, a game plan, anything. And for the first time, she's on her own. And she has to trust her knowledge and expertise when she's playing at the US Open. Also, I mean, she was starting to become this way throughout and make these character development changes throughout of being more present and in the moment and enjoying playing the game. And at the US Open, she starts to do that even more. And she just is having fun playing because she finally realizes what's it all about if you're not having fun. And she just loves to play good tennis. And she accepts the beauty of the game. And she also lets people in, which is great, and allows people to take care of her and just be there for her so she doesn't feel alone. Question 11. Carrie does play Nikki and she loses, and Carrie completely accepts defeat. Let's discuss this character growth for Carrie. as I said, she was just having a blast playing the game. Her and Nikki played the best tennis that they've ever played before in their lives, and realizes as she's playing that there's always going to be someone who's going to be better, but she's not doing anything productive by trying to take this back. She's inhibiting Nikki from becoming the woman that she needs to be in tennis and growing the tennis game. She can finally accept defeat knowing that she is playing her best and she's having the time of her life and just being in the moment and not worrying about what comes next. So yeah, it was a big growth moment for Carrie. Question 12, how did Carrie evolve from the beginning of the novel to the end? She went from being super cold, distant, closed off from others, and afraid to express her emotions to opening up and being present in the moment and smiling when she was playing, when she was having so much fun, and waving to the crowd and just enjoying the experience that she was having, which is huge. Allowing a chance, a second chance especially, for Beau to come back in and to prove her wrong that he would leave, and he kept proving her wrong that he wasn't gonna leave, that he was there to stay. And that was huge that she finally opened up and trusted that that was going to be the case. Question 13, Carrie finally retires for good and becomes a coach like her father. She is the coach for Nikki and is still with Beau. What are your thoughts about the ending? What happens next for Carrie? I already stated I loved the ending. I thought it was fantastic. It was the perfect ending for this book, even though I would have loved to have seen Carrie dominate on the court and win the US Open and take back her title. I think this ending is what needed to happen. She and Nikki played the best tennis they've ever played in their lives against each other, and Carrie just had a blast doing it. And I think, I mean, Nikki is in her 30s, 31, I believe, and 32 at the next round. So she's nearing retirement too. I think once Nikki retires, Carrie, I think, is going to continue to coach, and I think Beau would coach too, or maybe be a supportive role, and I think Nikki would also be a good coach. And I think the three of them opening like a coaching clinic or something for underprivileged kids to get their experience or something to that effect. They just all three love the game so much and are so passionate about it, and I think they want to spread that love for the game and their talents, and I think that would be the perfect way to do it. I think that's what would happen if I had my say. And 14, did you highlight any passages or did any quotes stand out to you? And boy, did they ever. So I wrote them down on here. So on page 17, don't let him call you a warrior, you are a queen. And that was Carrie's mom telling her that, and I just love that. She was there, ready to put her 2 cents in. On page 25, do not let what anyone says about you determine how you feel about yourself. Obviously, that's important. Page 107, people act like you can never forget your own name, but if you're not paying attention, you can veer so incredibly far away from everything you know about yourself to the point where you stop recognizing what they call you. Page 232, you are perfect even in your imperfections. And I love when Beau says this in Spanish. I thought that was the cutest. He's trying so hard. He's trying so hard. Page 271, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. And continuing on with the poem, page 272, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. In 313, feeling secure even knowing you are not the best. That was Javier telling Carrie about Beau, that he was very secure. And page 362, this is the part that really got me. This is when Carrie is playing Nikki. And what am I going to do? Keep coming back to try and take it from her? Keep holding on for dear life to what I should have let go of long ago? Is that what I want my life to be? Trying to deny what Nikki Chan is? Where is the beauty in that? She's having all these thoughts flash before her and realizes that her time is done and she should have let it rest and be on her way and let life go and just move along. There's other things to look forward to. And we already answered the key themes. Overall, I rated this book. I don't like doing like point whatever ratings, but I did rate this a 4.5. I really, really loved it, but it just wasn't a full 5 for me. However, just a phenomenal book. My toxic trait is that I believe that I can play tennis. You know, like I said, I really would love to take tennis lessons, but I know I'm not going to be very good, which is going to be tough for me because I don't like to do things I'm not good at. But we're going to learn eventually one day. Right now, I think I'll work on my pickleball game, perfect that, and maybe look into tennis, but pickleball is more important to me. And one day I'll do tennis. I would love to like just be really good at serving in tennis. I think that'd be fun. But I really love this book. I hope you guys did too. I mean, I don't know what our next book club pick is gonna be, so we'll find out together next month. It will be in my December TBR. So we'll find out there. And you can also follow me on Instagram because I will post it in my feed as well. And you can also just keep up to date with all my reading stuff and all that good stuff. Some quick little reviews on my Instagram page as well. Yeah. Let me know what your thoughts are on the book, whether you want to answer any of the questions in the description, or if you just want to give me your general overall thoughts. That would be fantastic down in the comments. Always happy to hear them. And I hope you like this book as much as I did, because I just love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love her so much. So yeah, her writing just speaks to me. It's just so great. But if you like these videos, you love our Lawkward Chronicles book club, please give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our monthly book club and any other videos that I upload throughout the month. I try to upload weekly, which is great. Usually Thursday mornings, bright and early, so you can start your day off with me looking like this. What else? That's it. That's really it. So respect others, respect yourself, and do something amazing with your day. Thanks. Bye.